We're so glad to be here. As Flor mentioned, I'm with the Membership Puzzle Project, which is a think tank based out of New York University Journalism School, and that was based on a founding principle, the idea that subscription and membership in news, while similar, actually are quite different. Subscription looks more like a product-based exchange. I give the New Yorker $100-some a year. They give me access to their digital archives and a copy of their print magazine in my mailbox each week. And the exchange ends there. What our project is really fascinated around is membership that looks more like contributing to a cause because you believe in it. So that could look like contributing to an educational institution, a political cause, etc. And we are highly fascinated with the social contract, what is given and received on each side. And we work with news organizations around the world to really think about what is it that they offer their supporters and exchange in exchange, what do those individuals contribute, their time, their money, their energy, their ideas. We take a very human-centered design approach to this work. And inspired by our partner newsroom, Day Correspondent, out of the Netherlands, we really think about what we might be able to offer the industry that is an antidote to the way that news usually operates. And so our research team works in ways that are agile, that are fast, and that keep users at the center. I'm going to talk today specifically about one component of our research work, and that is talking to supporters of independent news directly to understand what they value. So this is qualitative research that we've conducted with news organizations around the world to understand what are people's points of frustration and what do they need in news that is well worth paying for. This is just a quick snapshot of what these conversations look like. We sit down and have meals with supporters, with editorial teams, with developers, designers, all to have really candid conversations about what works and what doesn't. And I want to report back 6 themes that we've heard based on these conversations. And I should quickly mention that there is very high cross-cultural consistency in the supporters we talk to, no matter what region of the world they're in. The first thing, we hear a lot about the idea that something is broken. We hear a point of distinct frustration when we kick off these conversations. We hear that not only in news, but in places that we bank online, where we connect with friends, that something is profoundly out of alignment. And membership is one way to begin to restore the social contract. When it comes to news, what this brokenness looks like is following stories of the day and not offering much that's new or of unique value. We hear a lot about the request for work that goes deep and with more integrity. And so if there's one thing that you take away from this morning, let it be this, that your supporters want you to do the things that you are distinctly good at, to bring them the coverage that only you can do, even if that means scaling back on the stories of the day that every other site is piling onto. One site that does this incredibly well is the Daily Maverick in South Africa. And they have a reader covenant on their site that I think is just a fantastic document that really spells out, if you're a participant in this community, we expect you to use your real name. We expect you to contribute what you know. It's a very straightforward document, but one that I'm eager to see more sites really model their work off of. The second thing we hear is the importance of having many different ways to participate. So, traditionally, at least in the United States, the way that you can give your time and expertise is by answering phones on a public radio pledge drive. Increasingly, we hear people say that they want to contribute their personal experience, their lived experience, and their professional expertise. So what that can look like is readers, listeners, and viewers of your coverage who contribute what they know, just as we see ProPublica is an amazing example of what this looks like to engage the experiences of the individuals who follow your work. And increasingly, we see more newsrooms start to offer educational training, whether it's into video editing, the ethics of investigative reporting, and the like. And this really stands out in sharp distinction. So the Ferret is an investigative newsroom in Scotland that hosts weekly fact-checking nights in their newsroom on Sunday evenings. And this is not busy work. The intention is that it really is training and substantive work that readers and members can contribute to help with investigations that then go live on the site. And the intention with reporters coming in to work on a Sunday night is not that these individual supporters then become professional journalists. Some of them will have their interests piqued in that way, but that's not the real goal. The idea behind this kind of involvement, in-person, high-touch, highly valuable, is that it demystifies the work that journalists do. I've been really struck as we visit news organizations and talk to their supporters around the world, the low levels of literacy that we encounter and just how opaque we have made our work. And so I hope that you'll hear this as a call to make the work of journalism less opaque, to bring people into it, and by showing how they can contribute to it. Sometimes that's as moderators of online comments, sometimes that's as technical proofreaders, event programmers, and many, many more ways that people can be involved. We hear a lot about the importance of transparency and trust, as you would expect. News organizations that stand out, supporters tell us, are those that are very forthcoming about who's behind the work. And in turn, that means that supporters can name more than one or two people behind the organization. They're clear about ways that you can contribute, and here we look a lot at open source software projects, and what would it look like for journalism basically to have noob bugs that people could contribute to if they're brand new to contributing to reporting, but are eager to get underway. And then finally, where they're coming from. So really showing what your reporter's background is, what made them choose to undertake their beat in the first place, and what the goal is of their work, which is something that we very often take for granted, the expectation that we're publishing in the public interest, but being more straightforward about what that looks like and how individuals can participate along that process, not just involving them once work is published and expecting that they'll help share it. All of this work is really centered in the idea that we can bring people into the editorial process sooner and more often. Day Correspondent, our newsroom partner, does this really well with individual correspondent newsletters each week. So this is in addition to the outlet-wide weekly email newsletter, and it's a direct chance for individual correspondents to talk to people who care about their beat. And it's decidedly not self-promotional. It's very humble, actually, and it's very vulnerable. Reporters will say to their readers, here are 3 things that I'm thinking of working on. What should I know? What else should I be thinking about? What sources should I talk to? I'm going to run through the rest of these very quickly because I'm getting some signals that I should start to wrap things up. We hear a lot about the importance of humility, correcting yourself when you're wrong, asking for help when you need it. What the Fuck Just Happened Today, which is a Trump News Today site out of the US, is an amazing example of this. Here, Matt Kieser, the publisher of the site, is thanking the grammar police mafia, basically people who have volunteered as proofreaders for the site. Day Correspondent does a great job of now, down to the euro cent, publishing exactly how its members' money is spent annually, and I would like to see more examples of this, of transparency into finances. Last two things. We hear a lot about the importance of a calming user experience. The importance of make good use of my attention. Let me do the thing that I came to your site to do, whether that's pay you, connect with other members, make sense of a complex news topic. And then finally, working always and only in the public interest. We're having a workshop this afternoon. If these topics are of interest to you, if you want to be thinking about writing a manifesto for and with your members, please join us this afternoon. And one thing we'll really be looking to uncover is, are you designing a community or are you designing a paid club? Those are different things. They can coexist, but let's really look under the hood and get to work for you. Thank you.